Alright, so what's up everybody? As you can see, very similar. We're in the same fucking spot that I'm always in. Beautiful construction warehouse, whatever the fuck it is. It's here, it's back, it works. Good, now, fixed. Knock on some metal. Hopefully it stays like this for a while. So I'm wearing the same tank top as I was in the last update video, and there's a good reason for that. You know, first off, gotta represent the gang. M113 kid, the only kind of engine you should be, you know, driving. This paper right here, or actually two papers, is a very short summary of the last year of owning this automobile. So if you guys didn't know, it's actually been, it's been about a year and a month now that I bought this car. When I first introduced it on YouTube, I'm actually going to consider maybe it's been exactly a year since my ownership, because while I did buy it in May of 2021, I left for a whole month to go to a different country while the car was getting repainted. So technically, I didn't do anything with the car for the first month of my ownership. So I guess we can say that my official ownership started at the end of June, beginning of July of 2021. So that's why I'm doing this update now. So it's been 1 year that I've owned this car. So this right here is all of my expenses, you know, not considering gas and those things, because if I start considering gas at this point, I might as well be a fucking millionaire, because I put like $70 into this car every 2 days. You know, that's how these things work when you drive modified AMGs that get fucking 8 miles to the gallon. So don't be like me. Don't do that. Actually, you should do that, but just make your own financial decisions, because while I did just graduate with a financial degree, I don't make very good financial decisions, as you'll see through these fucking papers. This is ridiculous. So without further ado in my rambling, let's go ahead and hop into this beautiful list. We've moved inside the vehicle, beautiful cabin in the C-Class. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this of the list. Now, disclaimer, I do have a whole folder. It's about that thick of receipts, and that's how I made the list. I didn't want to bring the folder because we'd be here for like an hour and a half, and I'm just not doing that. So short down list. It has everything I've spent on it, but pretty much this is, you know, just a breakdown summary, I guess spark notes of what I've done. So first things first, I had to buy the car. I mean, of course. Now, the winning bid on this car, how much I won it for, was $4,000. Contrary to popular belief, it was $4,000. There are some haters on here that think I paid a lot more. It's $4,000. That's what I won the car for. Actually, I won it for less, but they countered me at $4,000. I was like, all right, fuck it. I wanted the car pretty bad. That was probably not the smartest decision, but I said, okay, fine. I clicked the yes button. So with Copart's beautiful and very cheap fees that they decided to charge for you, and my broker fees, and shipping transport fees from Copart, because this car was from Rancho Cucamonga, which was part of LA. The total came out to $5,640. That's how much I paid for this beautiful German machine. It was $5,000 or $5,600. So yeah, shipping was $300. So I guess $5,300, not counting shipping. But whatever. That was, you know, to get the car here and inspect my beautiful purchase, which, yeah. If you guys haven't seen that, that's actually a pretty popular video on my channel. Go ahead and check it out. It's about a year ago. Maybe I'll link it somewhere here. You guys can, or I'll put it in the description. You guys can just click the link and check it out. It's I bought this cheapest salvage saddle E55 in the country, and I did. I know there's been cheaper ones that I've sold, but they don't run and drive because they're pretty much destroyed. So this is a running and driving car, or it was when I bought it, and it still is. Knock on fake Mercedes wood. So the next part was, if you guys remember, the reason I got the car as a salvaged or whatever car was because somebody had poured acid on it. It was vandalized. So acid on the hood, fenders, roof, bumpers, pretty much the whole car. Headlights, taillights, everything was destroyed. Even inside here, I mean, you can still see kind of how it's, you know, this. I got to replace the whole center console. So that was destroyed. These things right here, because, you know, conveniently enough, the sunroof was open when somebody decided to vandalize the car. Hint, hint. But yeah, so I took it to you know, reputable paint shop that maybe not so reputable, but I didn't want to spend like $3,000 or $4,000 on a paint job on a car that had 180,000 miles and was salvaged, because at this point I should have, because I'm already so deep into it, it doesn't even matter. But now that I think about it, yeah, maybe I should have just got a good paint job. But whatever. At the time, I was like, I'm just gonna get this medium to lower end cheap paint job, so you know, forget it. I can just have somebody touch it up afterwards. So the paint job was $1,507, which I'm rounding up to the nearest dollar because you know, yeah, $1,507. So just rounding up to the nearest dollar so we don't deal with change and cents and bullshit like that. So everything stays even, so we're good. And after I got it repainted, it was time to start driving the car. And you know, for me to drive it, I'm not a dealer, so I needed to register the car. I had to get plates for it. So the beautiful Nevada, great DMV service, charged me $710 to do everything. That was smog, sales tax, dock fees, or registration fees, or plate fees, because I got the custom plate, $60. But you know, regardless, whatever, it was $710. That was not anything I could do. That's not in my control. You know, it wasn't like I could have chose to do that or not. I had to, because otherwise I can't drive the car. So that was one thing on here that I had to do at that point. You know, I just had to. Now, could I have driven the car with, you know, probably the fucked up paint job? Yeah, probably. I mean, because there was nothing, you know, mechanically wrong with the car. It ran and drove fine. The lights worked, everything worked. It just looked horrible because it had been vandalized. So, yeah. Now, as soon as I got the car and I came, you know, I started driving it, I had to take care of the interior. Because if you guys remember, somebody had poured acid through here, as I showed you guys through the sunroof, conveniently enough. And it went all over the seats, the carpets, and especially the rear. It was really bad. So I put that in here as a fee, because I paid $200 to this mobile, or not mobile, but this detail shop. And they went through and, you know, shampooed, cleaned the carpets, and they did the best they could. And the rear carpets are actually good. They saved them. But there are some things that they told me that they couldn't get rid of. And it's on the side of the seat right here, which I've tried as well, and I can't seem to get rid of it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like part of the paint or something, but you can't clean it off. So it is what it is. If I end up one day replacing these seats with the, you know, 211 E63 seats, because I like those with the little Alcantara and everything. So the little technical difficulties, iPhone, I think, overheated or something, so we're using a different iPhone now. But as I was saying, the seats, I can't seem to get it off, so we're just gonna, if I end up one day replacing them. And excuse the fireworks, it's 4th of July, so happy 4th of July, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but there's a lot of those going on today. So the seats, they might get replaced with 211 E63 seats at one point. I don't know yet, because what I want to do eventually is I just want to convert this basically to a E63, just keep the power plant, because I prefer the power plant, but I like all the updates that they did to the, you know, facelift 211 cars. So we'll see. You guys know I have the taillights, the headlight, or I'll show you the new headlights, and we'll go from there. So yeah, next thing I had to do was, the car had some cheapo Walmart crappy battery that wasn't even for this car, because somebody has installed a sound system. I mean, I've had plenty of people ask me of what sound system is in it. All I know, it's a Pioneer head unit, and it has a backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and from what I found, I have some pictures of what it looks like. It's like $700-800 at Best Buy or online, so it's a pretty expensive head unit, and it's a nice one. I just don't know if they wired it wrong, because my seat, the driver's seat, isn't bolted on right, and the heated and cooled seats don't work, and it says there's no communication with the module. So I'm assuming they did some wiring through there. Maybe it's hooked up to that as a power source. I don't know yet. I haven't taken it apart. I will eventually, because I want my cooled seats, especially now in the summer. I mean, I know they're not cooled seats, they're just blowing some air in your butt seats, but you know, regardless, I want the feature to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the seat out and see if either the module's bad or what's going on, and try to fix it. So, but yeah, I needed a new battery, so I figured I'd buy a good battery because of the sound system and, you know, just the car itself. So I went ahead and I bought an AGM battery from O'Reilly's. Now, okay, I know there's Optima red tops and whatever. I don't care the brand as much of the battery. I'm just saying, you know, I wanted an AGM one, so I went to O'Reilly's. I have an account there. I had some credit, so I bought it. It cost me $220. That's with a core, so call it $200 without the core, because it was a $20 core. I just gave them the old battery. They gave me the new one. So yeah. Now, next thing is, let's go ahead and move to the engine so we can talk about that. So, beautiful M113K power plant, fantastic. Not without its issues that I've had, and it's not because of the engine's unreliability, which is, it's a very reliable engine. It's because it wasn't taken care of. So, everything's not in order of the way things happen. It's just I just put them on the list, so that's something. Engine and transmission mounts, $170. So I have replaced them, and it made a world of difference because they were destroyed. Now the engine mounts I haven't done yet because I need a lift, or not a lift, but I know you can do it on jack stands. I've just been kind of lazy, but I have a friend who has a lift, and he's saying he's gonna let me use it when he's done with his project or whatever. So that's all coming. I have the mounts on my house, the original Mercedes mounts. I didn't go with Black Series polyurethane mounts because this is a daily driver for me and I don't want it to ride like shit. So yeah, so I have the mounts and I've replaced the trans mount, so $170 for that. When I had the transmission rebuilt about a month and a half ago, or about a month ago actually, I had to do I did the torque converter lockup solenoid because it had some issues where it was engaging the torque converter at weird intervals or whatever, so it was kind of it was acting weird, which is a problem. If you look it up on the forums, those solenoids have problems. So that was $70. And another quick disclaimer, my parts prices, I get some parts at wholesale because I know some people, and so they're not the exact prices you'll get if you go to the dealer or wherever you go. I have the hookup, so you got to use everything you can, right? So yeah. Next thing we did was the whole upper engine intake, basically gasket set. That's what I'm going to call it. Basically upper intake gasket set or whatever. But valve covers, supercharger intake gasket, surge tank gaskets, throttle body gasket. That all came out to $100. So I bought all that off, again, not FCPR. I bought them off at the dealer, wholesale price. So I got that for pretty cheap, $100 for all the gaskets. It's a pretty good deal, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. And the car, you could tell it drives better now because it doesn't misfire, or not. It doesn't have that slight misfire anymore at idle or that it did. So I'm assuming it had a leak, a vacuum leak or something. That's gone. Now it's good. So yeah, that was $100. Next big one, the transmission rebuild kit. So if you guys remember, my transmission went out back in February, and the car sat at my house for like 4 months. I was contemplating getting a used trans or rebuilding it. I ended up rebuilding it. Well, not me, but my dad did. He rebuilt the transmission in our garage and drives great now. So that was $430. I bought the kit from Allmatic, which I don't know if they have Allmatics everywhere, but here in Vegas, it's a transmission shop. They have great parts, a very high quality. I bought the most expensive kit they offered. They had some cheaper ones. I said, just give me the most expensive one with the beefiest clutches because it makes a good amount of power and torque. So $430, and my dad rebuilt it for free. I didn't pay him anything. He didn't charge me anything. So it would have been probably, like, from what I've seen, like $3 grand for it at a shop. But I got it done for $430 plus, all the oil and shit I bought. So oil, it's actually on here. Trans oil was $160. I'm counting that from this time and when I did the conductor plate in August last year. So $160 for oil, again, wholesale price. It's a lot. I got new rear tires. Let's go take a look at them back. Again, another interruption from a phone call. Sorry about that, but we're talking about another massive expense. So the car needed tires desperately. So I ended up getting Continental rear tires. They're Continental DWSL6s. I read pretty good reviews on them. They are decently grippy. They're not as crazy as, Michelin Pilot Cup tires, which I would have preferred, but they're like $450 a piece, and I didn't want to spend that kind of money at that point. So these are great tires. They hold pretty good on traction. I mean, if you, from a dig, it just spins. I mean, I honestly don't know of the kind of tires that it wouldn't spin, even when it's hot outside, but it's a lot better than the other BOS. I don't know what the fuck I had before, but they were crappy tires. So these are 285/30/19s, and for that, at discount tire, that ran me $640. That's with a mount and balance and the tires, and they charged me some to dispose the old ones. Apparently they do that now, so that's great. we have VRP one-step colder plugs, which are basically colder plugs. They run a little bit colder than the factory ones would, makes the car run better. I did a video on those. It's on the channel. You guys can go check them out. That ran me $150. When I originally bought the car, if you guys remember, this bumper head was sagging off. When they vandalized, I guess they very expertly knew to take off the bracket that holds the bumper, because you know the vandals know how to do that. So that was missing. That cost me $45 at Mercedes. So I called it bumper hardware because I bought some other stuff too. So I rounded up to like 50 bucks. So yeah. When I also bought the car, it had some really hardcore gangster tint on it. So I left the limo tint on the back, but this was way too dark. You couldn't see shit at night. You literally had to drive around with the windows down because it was that dark. And this was also tinted. This was like a 30% tint. Who the fuck does a 30% tint on a front windshield? You have a death wish at that point. I mean, that's crazy. Now, front window tint is also illegal. I don't know how the hell they got away with that in California. I don't know how you got away with any of this car in California. This car is the definition of illegal in California. It's loud, it has no cats, and it had crazy ass tint on it. So kudos to the last owner for having the balls to drive this thing around. But yeah, so at work, they gave me a good deal on the tint. It's a pretty good tint. So I paid $125 to remove the front two windows and the front windshield tint and get these redone. So this is 20% now on the front. It was like 5, I made it 20, which is just, you know, it's good enough for me. But yeah, another thing was I did another video. I developed a pretty bad leak from the oil filter housing. There's 2 gaskets. They went bad and it was just pouring oil. So that cost me $66, and that was from FCP Euro. 66 bucks and like an hour and a half of my time one day. So it's actually a real easy job. Video on my channel if you want to know how to do it yourself. I'll put in the link as well. I changed the coolant tank recently when I did the whole when we just did the whole engine refresh and I did the thermostat and all that. This was $40 for Mercedes, brand new tank. You might as well replace them because the caps go bad, but instead of replacing the caps, replace the whole tank because they go bad. They're old. I mean, they're almost 20 years old at this point. So I've done 2 engine oil changes in this car when I've owned it. You know, as long as I've owned it, I did it. When I first got the car, I put 5,000 miles on it, and I did an oil change in January of this year. I still haven't put 5,000 miles on it because, you know, it fucking blew up. So I've only put like maybe 1,000 on it ever since I started driving it again. So I rounded it up. It cost me $160 for those 2 oil changes. That's with oil. So that's about, what is that? It takes like 8 quarts, 8.5. So that's like what, 17 liters, 17 quarts of oil and 2 oil filter sets. Yeah, because it comes with little O-rings and everything. So that's 2 oil changes, 160 bucks. The conductor plate went out last August. I did a video on that as well, replacing that. If you guys want to know how to do a lot of stuff on this car, I have a lot of the videos on my channel. So just scroll on my channel videos and you'll find them. I did a whole conductor plate replacement on the channel. So that was $190. I got that from the dealer, wholesale price. You can also get them from FCP Euro, lifetime warranty. Not sponsor video, they just have great prices, actually competitive prices along with lifetime warranty. You can't beat that. You really can't beat that. So we already talked about trans oil. Let's go ahead and flip the page. Transmission oil filter, I did that when I replaced, I've actually done it twice now because I did it the first time when I replaced the, you know, the conductor plate. And actually, no, it's only, I guess twice, but I only paid once because the first time I bought the filter and the second time it came with the rebuild kit. So first filter I replaced it at Mercedes was 12 bucks. I mean, it's pretty fucking cheap. I think list price is like 14, so I only saved like $2 getting it wholesale. So yeah, 12 bucks for that. Trans harness conductor, I've told you guys about those. It's literally 10 bucks. You might as well change it. It's on the side of the transmission where the harness plugs in. The oil, or not the oil, but the rubber rings go bad and it lets oil seep in through the harness, and actually the oil will climb up the harness into the engine or the trans computer and it will fry it. Speaking of the trans computer, if you guys remember, I always had a fault code on transmission when you'd scan it. EGS control module is non-communicative or whatever, so that was the previous owner told me he had a trans tune on the car. I don't know, but I replaced it and I put on a TJ Mary MK Ultra SLR TCU. So very highly recommended. Everywhere you see them on YouTube. Everybody runs these because they're fantastic and they perform well. I mean, I've driven 700 miles now with it and it's flawless. It is amazing. I mean, it's great. It drives fantastically, and when you switch it into the A mode, which is agility, which is something the SLR has, it changes it. I mean, it shifts really quick. You know, it shifts quick enough for a 5-speed transmission from the 90s. So it's good. I would highly recommend it. If you guys are in the market for a TCU, not a sponsored part of this video. I don't know TJ Mary. I don't, you know, I'm not associated with the company or anything, but fantastic transmission tunes. I would highly recommend. That's your first stop if you're looking for a TCU tune. Definitely go there. I mean, it's a little bit expensive, but it's worth it. So that was $300. Was it expensive? Yeah. Is it worth it to me? Absolutely, because it actually makes the car drive well. Like, it drives better than stock. So that's something I would call OEM plus. That's not really a crazy modification. It's just something that enhances the car. You don't, you know, the one thing you do need for this TCU tune though is you need blue top solenoids. So if you guys have never heard of those, the regular cars, or I'm actually not too sure, so if somebody knows this in the comments, please chime in, but I believe 05 and up E55s came with blue top solenoids, which are basically what the SLR has. Previous to that, they have the brown top ones, but mine's an 04 and it has blue tops. So I don't know if somebody's replaced them or if it came like that. Somebody please let me know in the comments for sure. So that was changed. You do need those to run it though. You know, and it says it in the website. It says for the best performance, you need to run blue tops. It will work with brown tops. It just won't work the way it's supposed to. So make sure you have blue tops before you change the tune. I don't want to be responsible for somebody saying, you told me to go buy it and now it doesn't work. Well, make sure you have everything, you know, you need before you buy it. So that was $300. Along with the trans rebuild that we did, I also ended up buying the Sonex overlap sleeves for the valve body, which if you guys haven't seen those, they're little like little valve circular round things that go on the side of the valve body, and they're for shifting. You know how it shifts. And mine were pretty worn out, so I went ahead and bought those. Those were 40 bucks on eBay original parts from Sonex. So that helps it shift better, and I've definitely noticed it shifting better. Another thing that car had, but I got it redone because I didn't like it, was the tune on the motor. It has a Race IQ tune from Tony. It's $400, but that's why mine now has the crazy burble pops and sounds like fireworks or AK-47s being shot when you downshift and you kind of just give it some throttle. So it's great. Drives great with the tune. I think when I got it retuned, it actually performs a lot better now than it did before. So yeah, this is a long list, but we're almost there. Almost there. Bear with me. I've replaced the heater control valve. It was blowing cold air in the front, hot in the air. That was 40 bucks. The alternator, the most recent thing, alternator went out. I got it rebuilt with original Mercedes parts for $150. It is basically new because I didn't really want to go buy a remanufactured unit. It's like fucking $600 and it's remanufactured, so I don't know if they're using good parts or if they're using some cheap Chinese shit. So I know that the guy that rebuilt it, he showed me all the parts he's going to use, and they're literally labeled Mercedes and everything, Bosch. So I was like, just do it. 150 bucks, a lot better, and it's basically a brand new alternator at this point. So yeah. And what else? What did I miss? Let's see. We've done, oh yeah, we did last year when the trans went out. I also ended up replacing the engine coolant reservoir hose, which is a hose that goes from the reservoir to the radiator, and that's when I also did the split cooling. So that all actually cost me about $440 because I bought the hose, which was 115 bucks. I bought the split cooling kit with the BMW reservoir, which is 135 from VRP, and I also bought a Bosch 010 pump, which if you guys know anything about it, it's good to replace them because old worn out ones won't perform as well. That was 150 bucks. So all in all, about 430-ish, 40-ish dollars, something like that. So that's been put into this car. Again, OEM plus improvements that I think everybody should do. And I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm missing anything. So yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, I'm missing a massive thing aside from the new update. The wheels. When you guys remember when I bought this car, it had are those walled wheels, which actually are like $6,000 wheels now that I found out, but sold them for pretty cheap because nobody wanted them. They're great wheels. I just don't think it fit this car. The guy that bought them for me has a W140 S-Class. They look amazing. I think the wheels on that car make the car so it looks like original OEM AMG monoblocks, just a little bit different. So that's great. He's happy. I was happy that he bought them. And I ended up going with these. These are Niche Misano M117 wheels. In the fronts they're 19 by 8.5 and the rears are 19 by 9.5. And these cost me about $1,500. So give or take a lot of money. So yeah, $1,500 for the wheels. But I think it was definitely well worth for me because the other wheels were also, I think they were cracked because it would vibrate really violently when you're on the highway. I don't know if that was because of the tires or the wheels. Maybe it was just the front tires, but because he hasn't said anything to me, he's been happy with them. So yeah, but that's pretty much it aside from the newest thing. And if you guys come and look over here, I got new headlights. A lot of people commented that my car looked like a crook-eyed freak, because it did, because the other headlights were garbage that I ended up buying last year because the other original ones were acidic destroyed. So I spent like $300 on headlights when they came out to be garbage because the guys fucked me over on eBay. Fuck it, right? Whatever. Who cares? So I just said fuck it at this point. I'm not buying used headlights anymore. Let me buy some brand new ones. So these are Spider headlights. They're called Spider because that's the manufacturer. And if you guys notice anything, they're actually facelifted. So these are the 211 E63 headlights. And they're blacked out. I love the blacked out look. As you guys know, this whole car is silver and black. That's the whole theme. So the blacked out look looks great. They were very expensive. And yes, I know somebody's gonna say, oh, well, this is a little bit too far out or too in, a little bit out. I know. I just wanted to put the bumper on. I got impatient. I wanted to put it on and make it look good. Or not make it look good, but I just wanted to see how it looked. So I will take the bumper off next weekend and we'll adjust the headlights, make sure this one comes out a little bit more, maybe that one a little bit in. So we'll make it look perfect. But as of right now, I can actually see at night because anybody who's driven this car, like my brother or anybody, they'll tell you, you couldn't see jack shit. This headlight pointed straight into the ground, literally like right here. That one pointed off into, I don't know, fucking China somewhere. So I don't, you know, you couldn't see anything at night. You literally had to drive around with high beams to see, or with the fog lights, which the fog lights are LEDs and they're pretty bright. So I'm not gonna drive around with high beams or fog lights that are brighter than high beams. That's just pissing people off and I don't want to do that. So now I can actually see, so it's fantastic. But these weren't cheap. So these were $360 and there was some modification required to put them on because the way the wiring is set up on these lights, I wanted to put my LED lights in here. So of course, Bird already shit on it, even though they're brand new, of course. But they look great, man. And I'm just happy because now I can actually see at night. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. We've come to the end of the list. So how much have I spent on this great piece of German engineering in the last year that I've owned? $14,127. $14,000 for a salvage title, 180,000 mile E55 AMG. Is this car worth $14,000? Fuck no. Not even in today's market. Not even in today's crazy ass market where you can buy used Ford Transits for $70,000. No. This car is not worth that. How much is it worth? I don't know. 9-10 grand maybe, because it's an E55. I don't know. I honestly don't know. And it's far from perfect. It still needs a lot of work. The whole front suspension needs to be redone, aside from the actual, you know, bags, which thank God, because those are expensive. I just got to do the control arms. That's next on the list. It's probably gonna be another like $300. I gotta do the rear shock airbag, which I have. I've already bought it. It's at the house. I've just been fucking lazy and not changed it. And I also need to do the rear suspension bushings, or the rear subframe bushings, because if anybody knows, those are big problems, and mine are cracked. So that's a priority thing. I got to figure out where I'm gonna get them. Maybe Mercedes, or I'll see online. I haven't even looked for them. So yeah, but yeah, 14 grand later, 1 year later, I didn't drive the car for 4 months because it blew up. So I sat outside my house for 4 months. So technically I've driven this car for 8 months, but am I mad? No, I'm not. I'm not mad at all. Do I think this was a dumbass financial decision? Absolutely it was. Considering, you know, as I said, I'm a finance major. This is the dumbest fucking thing you could do. Would I recommend you go out and buy a salvage title high mileage E55? No, do not fucking do that. Go buy a sorted one, because for 14 grand you could get a, I mean, again, a little bit of higher mileage, but it'll be a decent E55. So it won't be salvaged, it'll be clean title, maybe lower. It'll definitely be lower miles than this. So yeah, wow, that's actually kind of hit me now that I spent 14 grand on a salvage title high ass mileage E55. I mean, at this point it's mine. It's my car. I don't plan on selling this car, so yeah, I guess technically I haven't lost money. You know, people that do stocks tell themselves that when they lose a lot, you know, when they're down like 10 grand, they tell themselves, well, I haven't lost it because I haven't sold it. So that's what I'm telling myself. I haven't lost any money because I'm not selling this car. So yeah, but am I mad? No, I'm not mad. Do I care? A little bit. I mean, it's a little bit. It's gonna bug anybody, you know, whether they say, if somebody tells you it's not, they're lying. It does bug me a little bit that I spent that much money on a car that's not worth it, but who cares? I mean, honestly, who cares? If I wanted to make money off it, I wouldn't have bought a salvage title car. I mean, that, you know, anybody that knows anything, unless you get it for dirt cheap, you're not really gonna make money off a salvage title car. Even though, as I've said multiple times, this car has never physically been in an accident. This car has never been hit. It's never had the frame rails or anything dented. It just got vandalized. It just had a little bit of acid poured on it. More than a little bit, but it was poured all over it. So, I mean, people don't care though, right? Oh, it's salvage. I don't care. They don't care. So, what do I think of this list? 14 grand? That's what I think of that list. I don't give a fuck, because I enjoy this car, and every time I get in, it makes me smile. So who cares? Do whatever the fuck you want, right? That's why we can do whatever the fuck we want. I'll pick that up. I'm not gonna litter. But yeah, remember, as always, make horrible financial decisions, buy broken E55s. We need to save all of them. Don't do any of those things, but we do need to save these cars, because they're never making these cars again. This is a of its generation vehicle. They're never, you know, Mercedes now is talking about going electric. With the new C-Class is going to be a 4-cylinder hybrid. I mean, fuck, man, C63 with a 4-cylinder, really? I mean, I don't know much about anything about those things, but that's why we have these. We got to cherish these cars while we can before the EPA tells us we can't drive these cars anymore. Because is that going to happen? Maybe. I mean, who knows, right? So yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments, am I a complete fucking dumbass for spending 14 grand on this car? That's a lot more than I paid for it, but who cares, right? At the end of the day, that's why we do these things, because we love these cars. So yeah, but thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one. I got some pretty cool videos coming out. I got to rematch my buddy in that Mustang GT, because the car now is performing pretty good. So we got to see what happens. But you guys all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.